By March 1945, the war in Europe was nearing its climax. Allied columns surged into Germany, but in the city of Cologne, on the eve of collapse, one tank duel would become legend. One American gunner at the heart of a steel behemoth squared off against a Nazi Panther tank in the streets of a bombed-out cathedral city. He was just a young man, but that day, he would become the most celebrated gunner of WW2 in American memory. His name, Clarence Smoyer. Before we reach that duel, we must first understand who he was. How did a boy from coal country become locked in a life-or-death duel inside a tank? And why does his story still echo down the decades? Clarence Smoyer was born in Pennsylvania, the heart of America's industrial and coal mining region. He was quiet, modest, not born for the spotlight. When WW2 called, he answered, like many young men of his generation. He was drafted in 1943, sent to training, and volunteered for the armored force. But he didn't immediately become a gunner. He served as loader, mechanic, backup, learning every part of the tank's heart. Then, in August 1944, he was promoted, trained, and placed in the turret, the gunner's seat. He later recalled, learning to aim, to fire, to stay calm under roaring shells. These were lessons taught under fire, not in textbooks. Smoyer joined the 3rd Armored Division, nicknamed Spearhead. They led the Allied armored thrusts into Germany. They were in the thick of it. The push across the Rhine, the drive into the Ruhr, and finally, Cologne. He would be part of a crew operating a Pershing tank named Eagle 7 toward the war's end. His gunner's role? To hit the enemy first, or die trying. Now imagine the pressure. The opposing tank, muzzle flash, shells tearing buildings, rubble under your treads, civilians in the shadows. One wrong shot, you kill friend or innocent. One hesitation, you die. It was March 6, 1945. Cologne was almost in ruins. Allied forces entered city streets, rubble everywhere. Smoyer's Eagle 7 was called to support infantry. A German Panther tank waited in ambush, hidden behind debris. The stage was set for a duel that would be immortalized in newsreels. Which tank would survive? Which gunner would outshoot the other? We will get there. But first, we must enter the turret. The Pershing's turret, a steel cocoon. Smoyer climbed in, strapped in, loaded belts of ammunition. At his fingertips, the main 9mm gun, coaxial machine guns, optical sights. He became the heart of the tank. Opposing him, the Panther with thick frontal armor, a powerful gun, and veteran crew. Each shot would count. Each decision, fire, reposition, hold, could decide life or death. Eagle 7 rolls into position. The Panther lurks, its barrel glinting in debris shadows. Infantry voices echo behind them. Then, boom. The duel ignites. Smoyer braces and fires. Hits register. The Panther recoils. A hatch bursts open. 4 crew bail out. Bartelborth, the Panther's commander, is still inside. It's the moment that made headlines. An American Pershing versus a German Panther, face to face under the ruins of a cathedral. In that moment, Smoyer's calm, steadiness, and deadly aim made him a legend. But it was not a perfect shot. Buildings crumbled, debris blew, shells splintered glass. German fire returned. Near misses shook the turret. They maneuvered. The fight became cat and mouse. Smoyer had to adjust, lead the shot, calculate angles, and stay alive. Would you stand there, trapped in steel, under fire, for minutes, stretched into agony? He did. He shot again. He out-aimed them. The Panther fell silent. Silence. Smoke. The city in ruins. Scraps of armor. Dead earth. A defeated enemy tank. Eagle 7's crew emerged. They had won something more than a fight. They had claimed a moment of moral victory in a crumbling war. For Smoyer, it changed him. He would later be called Hero of Cologne. But he never viewed himself as hero, just a gunner doing his job. After the war, the story of Eagle 7's duel became legend in newsreels, books, and in Smoyer's later conversations. Adam Makos wrote Spearhead, chronicling his journey and his tragic meeting, decades later, with his former enemy, Gustav Schaefer. But Smoyer remained humble. He often told how he was terrified of heights, ironic for someone ensconced in a turret. He survived, returned home, and lived quietly. the acclaim never fully settling on his shoulders. But medals, fame, footage, these cover only a part. In a turret, you see death up close. You hear your own crew's breath, feel the shell's concussion in your bones. The guilt, the faces, the silence. Smoyer, like many veterans, rarely spoke until much later. He would whisper about the men he lost, the noises in sleep, the images that never left him. Because even a hero is haunted. What makes Clarence Smoyer's story more than a tank duel? Because it is human. A quiet man caught in violent times. A gunner who aimed, calculated, feared, and lived. His duel symbolized the clash of steel and human will in war's twilight. And perhaps that's why we retell it. Not for glory, but for memory. In the ruins of Cologne, one gunner made a decision. To aim, to fire, and to survive. He wasn't destined for legend. He was a small-town boy in a turret, locked in a battle no one else saw. Clarence Smoyer showed that in war, sometimes the most powerful weapon is focus, courage, and discipline under fire. But the war leaves no one untouched. Heroes fade, cities crumble. Memory is fragile. If you believe these stories deserve to live, share this video. Let others remember. Let the silent gunners speak again through time.